Hi, welcome to NewFilmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. I'm Carolyn McDonald and I'm here today to talk with Zora Schiltz Rouse about her film Black Madonna. Let's take a look at a clip from the film.
Just breathe.
Oh, I can't, okay? It's stifling in here. I'm upset, Joe. Can't you see that? I'm upset.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry for wanting to celebrate when you had all this bottled up.
I'm really tired. Are you tired too?
Zora, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here today. So tell me about the genesis for your film, Black Madonna.
Black Madonna was born out of a conversation that my co-director and I were having, where we were talking about, we were entering our 30s, and we were talking about children, as it's a conversation that comes up. And then we got onto the conversation about the principles of like childbearing during unprecedented climate change. And I noticed, and we would share articles, and we noticed that there were 100 articles written by predominantly white reporters who would look at black female mortality during birth or postpartum, but we never saw any black women that were the focus of the article in a way where they had been interviewed. But it was like we were looking at it and it was like, where are the black women? I don't see any black women being interviewed. We're talking about like millennials giving birth and like the Anthropomorphine era. Everything is centered around the human experience. Where are we like talking? Where are the black women being like questioned about like what they want, their fears around motherhood? Considering that like we're living in such an incredibly strange and prolific time. Birth rates are crashing, they're skyrocketing. I mean, all of it is interesting, but missing in that conversation was like, well, what do black women want? How do they feel? So we decided that we wanted to tell a story that reflected our own experience, as our own narrative.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was the genesis.
Okay.
So talk about the script development process and going into production. Once you developed the script, what was it like to begin to bring it to life from the page to the screen?
So, there was a production designer that I wanted to work with, and there was a DP we wanted to work with, and so we showed them this project, and they said, we're in. So it spoke to them, and they gave us friendly rates, and so that's where we really started. We got the DP we wanted. She was really drawn to the material. She's also a woman of color. And that's where we started. It was getting the DP because Morgan and I are both first-time directors. And so we needed a seasoned DP to lead us.
Yes, absolutely. That's so important to have a strong DP on your first shoot. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we started location scouting with Marisela Mendez, our DP, and just crewing up. Luckily, having lived out here and worked as an assistant on lots of TV sets and documentary sets, I had a number of people that I could call on to help bring this to life.
Very good. Yeah. And cast, tell us about how you found your lead actress.
Francesca Ramsey is a friend of Morgan Jerkins. They'd worked together previously. And so we had auditioned a number of people, but we kept coming back to her. It was like her look, her energy, her like brilliance. I mean, she's an incredible writer herself, and comic actor. And we wanted a comic element because this was centered in, as much as it could be, joy, and we felt that her bringing some levity to the role would be really helpful. And I wanted somebody. Morgan and I are light-skinned Black women, and considering where this short is supposed to be taking place, I was like, I don't want to cast a light-skinned actress. Maybe that's like too frank to say, but I was like, Francesca, she looks like my mother. She's got this beautiful shaved head. She's beautiful, dark brown skin, and I was like, this is an opportunity to cast someone who looks like Francesca. We don't need somebody who looks like me on screen. This isn't my story in the way that it could be hers. So yeah, that's how we found Francesca.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So talk about your lead character's choice. She's in this situation and time in her life where she's makes this choice, and she's up for this position, this grant, and she finds out she's pregnant, and having all this love around her, and her process of the complications to coming to her decision. Can you talk about that with the support of family? Because that's something that I thought was really beautiful in that film, her process, and then the support around her.
Yeah. Well, I don't know her choice. And I had this wonderful moment after the film, or the short film aired at another festival, and this man, he came up to me and he said, well, does she keep it? And I loved that the conversation was continuing after the fact. So yeah, she has incredible support, and yet I still don't know. I don't know her choice, and they support her regardless, so she's able to make that choice. Brandon, we wanted Brandon P. Bell, who plays her boyfriend Joe, her partner Joe. We wanted to keep him so open and available to the choice she makes, whether or not she keeps a child or not. We wanted to show that he deeply respects her, and he will continue to respect her regardless of the choice. And clearly, you see her living with her. She lives in a generational household. So I'm not as certain, like, if she were to have told her grandmother about her situation, whether or not her grandmother Geraldine would have been as supportive. But that's the kind of strife, the complications that come with family. But yeah, we were really keen to just showcase Joe's undying support and respect for his partner. Right.
And I think that is one of the biggest lessons of the film is the support and respect, regardless of, and ultimately underneath love, underneath all that, the love, commitment. So, yes. So tell us about the physical production of the film. How long did it take you to shoot?
It took 5 days, 5 very long days. We were very lucky because, as you know, it's typical for a short film, you have 3 days and then you've got to wrap, but we had the luxury of time and lots of support. And we shot in my home, and I had a couple friends who also generously gave their homes for us to shoot in. So it was really very family oriented. We looked at locations, but unfortunately they were a little out of budget. Pure Space is wonderful if you have the money, but we were just financially constrained. So everything was done at my house or my friends' homes. And then Plant Chica, which is in West Adams, and it is it's a plant shop that's run by 2 sisters who grew up in the area.
Nice, very nice. And co-directing, what was it like to co-direct? How did you kind of break up the duties of directing? Did one of you work more with actors and more with camera? What was that process like of the 2 of you co-directing together?
It was interesting to find our choreography together. Co-directing is, I know it's done, but it's a little unorthodox. I work on sets, so I have a certain stamina. Morgan, I've grown up working 14-hour days. So I was very much on my feet and very present, running around like a chicken without a head most of the time. But Morgan, this was her first experience on a set, and she held back a little bit, and I would check in with her. She would watch from the monitor, and I would, I'd run to set, and then I'd come back, and every day looked different, but typically, we would set something up. I would give direction. She'd be listening in, and then I would make sure that she liked the instincts that I had and that she felt things were set up properly because it is her script, and I wanted to honor. I wanted to honor her and everything that she felt she wanted in production. I don't know. yeah, so I would just check in with her.
Okay.
Yeah, she would, and then I would be like, does this feel right? You know?
What kind of crew did you have? What was it, a large crew? I mean, it's an indie short film,
Yeah,
so.
It was. I mean, maybe my apartment is just small, but it felt like a lot of foot traffic. we had quite a crew with us. Yeah, and we really insisted on bringing POC onto set. It was predominantly women, or people identified as women. Yeah, and it was one of the loveliest experiences. I think being really intentional about who we brought on set made for like such an incredible experience. I've been on a lot of sets, but when having the opportunity to handpick people that I trust and respect and wanted, who wanted to be on my set, that changed everything. It was the most loving experience I think I've had.
Fantastic. And to dovetail off that, what was your biggest lesson through this process? What was your emotional journey? I'm sure you learned many things, but what would you say was your biggest lesson and growth arc during this process?
This is something that I'm now trying to hone in on, is leadership. Being a leader, knowing that I'm capable of such, because it's really, I felt like my voice was caught in my throat sometimes. You know, I knew what I wanted, but sometimes it was really hard to articulate. And it's not that anybody wasn't listening. They were obviously very respectful as my project. But sometimes I was like, do I trust my instincts? And you know, like obviously like things will pop up, and was I there to like I'm not sure if I was the leader I needed to be, and that's something I need to work on, because there was just a lot going on. And I had an incredible experience recently. I got to work on a show directed by Kevin Bray. It was incredible. And he was so charismatic, and he was confident and calm. And I would watch him day after day, and I would think, I need to learn from this man. Like I need to take that and apply it to my own work. So now I'm really just trying to work on like my confidence. I'm trying to like listen to my instincts. I'm trying to use my voice more. I think that comes down to being a woman, being a Black woman. I feel like, I've been in a lot of situations where my voice was stunted. I was like not taken seriously. So now I'm just like, I'm trying to regrow. I'm trying to, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Really.
That's wonderful you to own that and to move past that, to heal that. And so are there any specific projects you're working on now, developing for your next film that you and will be applying that, to and learning from that, from what you've learned, applying what you've learned?
Sorry. Well, Morgan Jerkins also has a feature story that is being adapted into a feature, and she's going to be an associate producer on that. So that's coming up for Morgan. And for me, I'm jumping on another project that's going to be shooting on the East Coast. And for me, it's an opportunity. It's almost like a re-education, like I'm going back to school. I'm an assistant. I'm an on-set assistant to some executive producers, and I'm learning the art of filmmaking. I'm learning the business of filmmaking, I'm sorry. And they're quite confident and capable and focused. And so it's been a great apprenticeship opportunity for me to just learn how to lead. And hopefully next year, as I'm growing as like a producer, as a project pops up and I can co-direct again on something. Fantastic. So one final question: or rather, how would you like to see Black Madonna be used as a tool, to serve women trying to make decisions, or searching to find peace about things? I mean, how would you like to see the film speak to other women? I'd like to see women I mean, we shot in April 2022, and then Roe v. Wade was overturned in June of that year, and so it really raised the stakes. And I want women to see. I know it's a short film, and there's it's quick. There's not much to take away, but I hope that people see that women see that they have a choice. You can be whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You have full autonomy over your body and your life, and you should have a partner that supports you regardless. That's a takeaway. I mean, I'm humble in my expectations for a takeaway for this film, but I really wanted to plant Joe as a character that just showed that you should find you deserve a supportive partner, and she has that in Joe. And I love that moment where he asks her, he demands, he's like, tell me you're gonna have a good day. Because that's what every woman deserves. A partner who just inspires joy and demands that you start your day with a smile. That's my takeaway.
Fantastic. That's a great way to wind up, because that's what I got from it. I mean, I love their dynamic so much. I really, that was my personal part of the film that I loved the most. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. And where can we follow you? Where can we find out more about you and your work?
You can follow me on Instagram at Zorita Pepita. You can write that down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.